So just before we start, I just want to remind everyone to stay on mute just while Tai speaks and presents. If you have any questions, there's a chat box at the bottom that you can also ask. But obviously you can always just wait until the end of Tai's talk. But yeah, so thanks so much for joining, Tai. Take it away.
Okay, right. Put the pressure on me now. I don't even know where to start. So, yeah, my main subject is just the importance of understanding that the first 7 years of your life literally program you and who you are as an adult. It's really interesting actually, because having had my second son is a year and a half nearly now, and being conscious, having, you know, awoken since my first one, it's just observing him in a completely different way and knowing the programming that is going into him, and being conscious of that is really, really cool to be able to observe it now. And it's then making me realise and understand from literally seeing it there, the programming that I've received, and also that everybody's received, and trying to understand that and try and come to some resolve over it. I think it was Aristotle that actually said, give me the boy until he's 7 and I'll show you the man. And it really, really, really is the case. As a child born, you know, you've just come into this world, you're like fresh, you can't see, it's just everything, you've just come into this body, you're just literally absorbing this physicality where you've been sort of flying around in the ether, and your brain is in a theta state, so it is in a deeply hypnotic and suggestible state. And that is why everything you experience in the first 7, even in the 9 months in the womb, literally are programming you like a computer. And it's not just what you see and hear, it's literally the energy of what is in your environment, everything that you pick up. If your mum's a little bit stressed, that vibration literally becomes part of your programming. It becomes who you are, and then later on in life you go replicating it. I've got some friends, I love them dearly, but it does annoy me a little bit. Like, they're repeating the same things that they've experienced in their childhood, and they can't understand and grasp the fact that they are actually bringing it into their reality. And when you begin to understand that everything that you do, everything that is there is literally programmed, and it's not your fault, it's, you know, it's nothing, then you can start to bring your conscious awareness to it, and then you can start to choose differently. And then, you know, going on to like what we said on the little flyer, consciously reparent yourself just by bringing the awareness to it. I did actually do, because I did the sister circle actually on there. Let me just get a little bit of a drink on it. I did actually do a sister circle, and I shared a really powerful exercise that made me aware of this. This was when I got my awakening. And it's all very well knowing and understanding the concept of, you know, programming and energy and things like that. But when you actually physically see it for yourself, and you do like the exercise, I don't know if you did it actually, Alex. I did actually do it on my YouTube. I could share it with you. I've got like a little thing. You've got a tip. Basically, you have to go through like loads and loads of habits and patterns and programs that you recognize in your parents, and then you have to sort of cross-reference them with yourself and see if you could see any similarities in yourself. And for me, when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I've inherited that from my mum, and I've inherited that from my dad, and I've got, oh my God. And it just, I could just see it all so clearly. And then even just seeing like the handful that I saw from doing that exercise, again, like I said, that can be available to you guys. I've put it on my YouTube, and I can send over, Alex, the PDF thing of all the questions, so you're welcome to do it. When I saw it there, it was just like a light bulb moment, and then it brought my awareness to everything. It just literally shone a light on the fact that everything that I was attached to, it was just all a falsity. It was just all an illusion based on all this wiring and this programming. yeah, I don't know what else to say now.
I was gonna ask, I actually did have a few questions.
Go on, please.
How do you think that we can rewire our brains? I mean, I know that you listen to a lot of Joe Dispenza as well. Like, I love listening to Joe Dispenza, but I often don't know how to implement a lot of the stuff that he talks about. Yeah, like, you know, how can we reverse the programming that we've experienced? Because it's not even just the programming from our parents, it's also our surroundings as well, and like the media and society and stuff like that. How do you think that we can reverse that?
So it's not an overnight thing, unfortunately. I mean, to be honest, now, because the vibration of planet Earth is so much higher and we are rising so much higher, it is a lot quicker than back in the day when I had to go through it all. But it is literally, it's an ongoing thing, and it's catching things in the moment. So if you do something, and normally, I mean, a lot of the sort of self-help sort of programs and that is, your main indicator is if it makes you feel bad. If something makes you feel bad, that's an indicator, okay, this isn't right. And then you look at what it is, what is going on here. It's sort of taking a third person perspective and looking at what's going on and seeing, am I attracting that? Am I, where do I recognize this in my life, in my parents? And so that's one thing, is just bringing your awareness to it. And then over time, every time you bring your awareness to it and you see that this isn't me, this is my programming, this is my mum, I've copied this from whoever or wherever I've learned this. Over time, you just kind of stop, because you keep bringing your awareness to it. There are lots of other techniques that you can use. There's like tapping, you can tap and you can sort of rewire that way, like meditation and stuff like that. But for me, it was just constantly catching it in the moment and going, oh, there you go. And then over time, it just kind of stopped. I mean, to rewire your neuro pathways, that again, there's so many more ways. There's psychedelics, meditation, like I said, the tapping, hypnotherapy. You just got to find your medicine. You've got to find what works for you, and everyone's got an individual template.
Would you say that it's the same for healing? Like, if you wanted to go through healing, it's kind of the same kind of premise, isn't it? I suppose.
What, that everybody?
I suppose it all starts from awareness, doesn't it?
Definitely. You can't heal. Well, it goes two ways with healing. So you can heal something that you're conscious of. So if people, come to my sound baths and they come in, they're like, right, I really want to sort of try and heal, my mother wound, my attachment of negative attachment or whatever it is to my mum. And they come in and then they can actually, consciously think about it and bring the awareness to it, and stuff like that. Or just healing on its own. For example, cathartic release, like crying. I facilitate sound baths, coming to sound baths and just laying there and just feeling, and then just, if an emotion comes out, let it come out. And it's the energy of what's coming out that's coming out. You might not actually know what it was. I did a lot of healing when I discovered the power of the period, for those women out there. And sometimes I would know what I was crying for if things kept popping up in my... It's observing your thoughts and what's going on. And if things keep popping up for you, it's like, okay, you're trying to get my attention. So if I was, on my moon cycle and something kept coming up, maybe an ex or a friend that I've fallen out with, or a parent or something like that, then I would sort of go, right, I'm going to use you. If I'm on my period and I'm being emotional and, as you do, as a woman does, then I'm going to do it with purpose. And that's the purpose that I'm adding to it. But sometimes I didn't know why I was, releasing and healing, but I was using my moon cycle as an optimal time for that, because I was actually physically releasing at the same time. And sometimes I would just release anything that just no longer serves my higher self. And sometimes I'd release for other women.
It's really funny when you mentioned about how you could see the similarities in your parents and yourself, because I haven't actually done that. Is it like a chart, did you say?
So I actually talk you through it. So I send you through this whole list of all these patterns and behaviors and habits. And I actually talk you through it. I go, right, do you recognise this in your mum or your dad? So it's a bit like story time with Tailia. So you're not doing it on your own, you know, like sitting
No,
there.
I
Like,
like that. Yeah.
I'm not. So I'm talking you through it actually. So I do the video with you, and you literally go through it, and you go, yeah, I do recognise that, and I do recognise that, and
It's so funny, the older that I'm getting, the more I can recognize certain traits.
yeah.
Like I know for a fact that my natural kind of negative mind, it really does come from my dad. I love him a lot, obviously, but like he can be like quite negative naturally and um quite moany. And when I pick
Let me just turn the heater off because it's getting a bit toasty in here.
yeah, go on. If anyone else wants to jump in and ask any questions, like feel free. Hi, Chloe.
Toasty, sorry.
Yeah, I can
Hi. Hiya, darling.
Hello. But I just want to see if anyone else has any questions for Ty before I move on, or any other comments or.
I was going to say actually, with my mum, I had a difficult one with my mum. Love her dearly.
Well, I don't really have a question, but this was. Oh, let me just close the window. This was really nice. I'm sorry. I look, the stereotype of Swiss people is like they're always 5 minutes. They're there like 5 minutes before. So I was here 5 minutes after. So there goes this stereotype.
Okay.
No. Yeah, it was really interesting. Thank you for coming on. That's all I wanted to say.
You don't want to add anything else?
Who, me?
No, I was talking to.
Sorry.
Is it 8? But yeah, so you were saying about your mum.
Yeah, so I was going on to say that, yeah, when I started looking and observing, and some traits I'll be like, oh my god, I got that. That's my mother. But then there was a lot of traits that actually I was like, okay, well, I did get that from my mum, but actually, you know what, that's quite handy. Like my mum really likes upcycling and you know, bargains. She'll always go for the sale rail, and I don't mind that. I don't mind being a bar. So I'll actually celebrate it. And
Yeah.
it's nice because, you know, our parents have got a lot to answer for. So when you can actually be grateful for some of the traits as well. So it you know, it comes in, it swings in circles.
When I think about conditioning, I always think about indoctrination from the system and the elites and the government.
No, it literally is. It comes from everywhere. And the most important are the most, even 9 months in the womb is so vital because you're never going to know what that is as well. That's the crazy thing. So even just having that compassion for us when, you know, when we're, you know, having a bad day or attracting stuff or can't handle things well, it's not our fault.
Yeah.
And it wasn't our parents' fault either because they had the same programming from their parents and so on. And this is where just bringing our awareness to this is a form of conscious reparenting, and it's switching that little voice in your head and becoming friends with it, and almost having an inner split personality. You know, if I'm like, oh, it's okay, don't worry, you know, you got that from your mum, and that's then reparenting you because your parents have fucked you up to begin with, so you might as well put a positive slant on it and change that voice, because that
As
voice,
a parent, like yourself now, do you not feel sometimes paranoid? Obviously, being so aware about conditioning from parents, do you feel paranoid?
Really, really paranoid. I was with Kyrell actually. I think a bit too much, but yeah, I do a lot. But yeah, constantly, always.
And obviously, like you've got an older child and quite a young little bubby. How do you think like that must be quite different parenting the both of them? Well, especially like now in the age group, but obviously you've been through that experience with your older son, and now you're kind of doing it again. But are you doing things differently now?
Yes, a lot of things I'm doing differently. A lot of things, and the beauty of having an older son is that, and he's conscious. Is that we can have conscious conversations. So he will say to me, Mum, I don't think, I know you, like, I'll say to Mum, you little pickle, stop it, you're being naughty. But I'm just saying it in jest. And he's like, Mum, I remember a time when you said this. And I know you now that you were joking, but at the time I didn't actually understand what you meant. And I thought that you meant that. And I always grew up thinking this. So there's healing between me and my son, my eldest son. And then there's him also pulling me up on, maybe you shouldn't joke around, because I grew up with banter, and actually down the line I realised that it was actually a form of passive aggression. When
Yeah.
people are teasing you, it's actually a form of passive aggression. But that's programmed into me. Like, we're always like, oh, you plonker, and joking around. So him pulling me up on that, now I'm observing and watching, my use of words.
Yeah.
Not that I don't watch my use of words around him anyway, but it just changes the dimension of it just a little bit. Yeah.
I just want to, point out there's a question in the chat as well.
Yeah, I was
You're going to point that out.
going to say the same thing. Yeah, that's a question from Christos. He says, there is definitely a victimizer software running through the human consciousness, where we repeat cycles of abuse towards each other. What would be your advice on how to help people acknowledge their abusive behavior without offending them?
How would you point it out to them? Yeah, it's an interesting one. That's, I think, one of the biggest obstacles on this awakening path is learning to communicate with people. And to begin with, it takes
That's all right.
a bit of balls. That's what it is. It's a bit of courage to actually be. I read a really good book once called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Sounds a little bit seedy actually, but it was really cool. And it's always how the best way to soften a blow is to give a compliment. So it would be to say you wanted to sort of point out to somebody something about a victimizing behavior. It would be like, I love the way you sort of handle situations X, Y, Z. And have you ever considered? I think when you bring it to their attention in a question form, it's not so sort of blamey type thing. But I am one of these people, and I think that's probably the friends love me for it. I can actually be quite brutal and go, oh, I wonder if that's from that. That's why my name is Wonderful Woo Man, because I come out of all these sort of possibilities, and then they can pluck from that whatever one they want. So that's how I tend to bring people's things, programming to their awareness.
That's an interesting
But
book.
around me are only people that are interested in evolving and growing anyway, so they are open to it, and I'm open to it as well. Give me some constructive criticism, because that's how we grow.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good answer.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments for Tai?
Hey. So I've just recently started reading The Source by Dr. Tara Stewart.
Okay.
And it's pretty similar. It's about retraining the brain, but from a non-parenting point of view, just like to be less like negative, and to be more open to situations and noticing things. But yeah, I don't know, it's got a science behind it as well, which is why I like this together with that. But yeah, her coping mechanisms are like the same with tapping, but like, how does it really work? Like the coping, like when you're conscious, like trying to make yourself conscious of something, but I'm going to do it like in a way that other people don't notice.
Oh, okay, yeah. You don't even physically do it. You haven't, even just, like I said, even just going in your head like, oh look, that's my mum, and just bringing that awareness to it. If you do that enough, then it gets to a point where you've broken the neuro pathways. So you've got the reaction and the action. So you're just doing something unconsciously without knowing it. So when you then bring your awareness to it, you're breaking the circuit of the neuro pathway, which is programmed you to do it. So even just bring your awareness to it. But I'll tell you a good one that I used actually. My son, I taught it to him when he was at school, and I did it myself. A lot of when I had negative thoughts would come in, elastic band.
Oh yeah.
snap it on your wrist, and you can just sit there and snap it, and it's sort of bringing that shock, and it's a pattern interrupt. What it is, it's a pattern interrupt, and that's all you need is. So in hypnotherapy, that's what I learned is Darren Brown is brilliant at it. I think my son, he saw a thing. He said this guy was starting a fight with him, and he was going, "Oh, you've done this, and this guy was railing up and reeling up, and Darren Brown was like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And then all of a sudden, he went, "There's pink elephants up in the sky flying above Jupiter," and the guy was like, what? And because it broke the reaction from his thinking that he wanted to beat this guy up, all of a sudden he was like, what? And he actually brought the guy to tears, cried his eyes out, and had a release, because whatever this trauma thing was that had made him angry at him for no reason, had literally, the floodgates came out. So yeah, my point is, you just need to interrupt it, and even just bringing your awareness to it. So anything, you can make it up as well. There doesn't have to be any. I made all this shit up myself. Like, I don't know where it came from. You know, I got a little bit of help, and I took a little bit like that. Even if you want to sit there and do the okie dokie, you know, it's a pattern interrupt. It's breaking you wanting to do that and doing it, and you going, oh look. Oh, I'm not going to do that anymore. Turn around 3 times. It can be, obviously, people will see you doing that. So, yeah. We are creators. Create it. Create whatever you want, and it will work for you. I promise you, because it will be yours. It's your medicine.
What's like a good way of, like, I don't know, because I don't always think, oh, hang on, I should remind myself to not think like this, or think a positive of a negative situation. Like it's only when I start thinking, oh, I should read that book, that I start thinking, oh, I'll think like that a bit more. How's a way to like bring yourself to be a bit more conscious of yourself?
It's
like, because it is a big change in your in your brain thinking.
It's just, I don't know if I've always just thought like this. I don't know, but it's practice, and I suppose that's where meditation comes in, is just sort of being aware and listening to voices, and so that you can see which ones are your friends and which ones aren't. And we do slip. You know, we do slip, and that's okay, and that's part of the learning curve, because I don't know how old you are. You look very young, but I've got 40 years worth of.
Oh no, I'm 20. I'm like on the verge of 30.
So you've got nearly 30 years worth of unprogramming. So you need to be kind to yourself and know that it's not going to come. That was one of my biggest things, is I wanted it, and I wanted it now. And then there was just a point, I don't know, probably ayahuasca. It just, where I was just like, I'm perfect exactly as I am in this moment, and healing comes up for me as and when I need it. I could go a couple of months and it'd be fine, you know, have the odd day, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, whoa, where has this come from? But I can deal with it because I've done it before. And yeah, it's just a practice and wanting it as well.
And patience, would you?
Sorry, darling.
Would you say patience as well?
Yeah, patience and kindness and compassion with yourself, which is all part of the conscious reparenting, because that's what we want from our own parents. We want love, compassion and patience, and that's what we never got. So everything that you're giving to yourself in this growth, in this coming into awakening and consciousness, is everything that we wanted from our parents that couldn't give it to us because it wasn't available to them. So it's all just a part of loving and looking after yourself, reparenting yourself.
And when we think about how many years we've had being conditioned and indoctrinated in many different ways, I'm quite an impatient person, which is why I brought up patience. But would you say that there is, I don't want to say like a shortcut, but maybe like a quicker way to reversing or resolving the conditioning? Or would you say it's just like a work in progress? I guess.
For me personally, psychedelics, ayahuasca, magic mushrooms, they did me wonders. They did something to me. I can't explain it. and they just switch to switch. But obviously I understand that that's not everybody's medicine. So, you know, hopefully people will navigate towards me who are on that wave and interested. If anyone's resonating with what I'm saying, then maybe that's a path that they're interested in as well. But it did do a lot of healing for me.
Yeah.
It just made me look at things completely different and brought lots of healing, and it would bring into my psyche things that I didn't realize needed healing, and then I could do them whilst on the medicine during, you know, I would only ever do them sacredly as a healing tool modality.
So I guess it depends on everyone's journey themselves, because sometimes they can reverse or resolve the conditionings quite quickly, or sometimes it just, I think for me, like personally, in my personal experience, what I'm finding is that it's a constant process.
Yes, and it always is. Till the day I die, I'm gonna completely always be growing, evolving, healing, because and in my next life and the next life, there's gonna be a few 100 years worth of deprogramming of the old patriarchal society, because it's been like, what's the yuga? Is it like 62,000 years or something like that? It's been sort of pushing in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not all gonna be completely right as rain by the end of our lives. So we might as well give up on that straight away.
Yeah.
We've come here to be humans, and being human means being messy. We're not. That's part of being a human. We can't all be love and light all the time. If we would, we'd be back in the ether.
Yeah. Obviously, it is part of the process. I suppose it is part of the journey.
But that's part of being learning patience, and that might be part of your lesson. It was part of my lesson. Like
Yeah.
I thought I was broken, I needed fixing, and the second I sort of just started being okay with being me, even as broken as I was, then I started becoming less broken. There's a lot of power in letting go and surrendering. Letting go, man. It's really funny, because you'd think that letting go to get what you want would be the opposite, but the second you let go of the desire and the attachment to something, the universe will bring it to you. That's how it worked for me. But then
what are good ways of letting go? Sorry. That's a hard thing. Yeah, I was like, I'm not very good at letting go of things. Like, what are good ways to do that?
Good ways of letting go, it depends. It depends what you want to let go of. So if I'm thinking about, me letting go, it was for me when I found my partner, and I've now got a happy family. I had a really shitty relationship, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I cannot trust myself to pick guys, because all the guys I go for break my heart. So I said, because I've got such bad programming, I give up. I let go of anyone that I think is right for me, and I just surrender. If I'm supposed to die a crazy old cat lady and never have any more kids, which I really, really, really wanted, I literally just went to the universe. It's okay. And I cried for the life that I wish I could have. And I cried for the babies that I wish I wanted, and the wedding I was going to have. And I literally was like, oh, this was me. This was a bit, this is what I did. I'm a bit over the top. And then within a year, I got with my best friend, and then a year later, we've got a little boy, and he was there all along, and I didn't see him. But the second I let go, it all started like I was going, oh my gosh! It was the universe just started giving me all these signs. So that's just my experience, and that's how I did it. And yeah, I don't know. I can't explain it. I just I think I'd just been through a really shitty time, and I'd had enough, and that was kind of my just take me, surrender. So yeah, I mean, maybe we need to get to that breaking point before we sort of like say, I've had enough, I give up, and then we sort of claw our way.
No, we sound quite similar. I'm quite emotional.
Yeah, but it's okay.
I thought that sounds nice. I'm into the vision boards at the moment as well, like manifesting. So this all sounds good.
Yeah, it is, but it's funny, because then there is like an equal, like there's manifesting, but then letting go, and it's this balance, is being content and happy with what you've got in the moment, but then still having in mind what you'd really like as well, and then letting go of that, never having that, you know, it's a crazy thing.
There is another question in the chat actually that really relates to the letting go topic. So Christos says, at a point though, we have to realize there are certain people in our lives that don't want to change, and that you've exhausted your efforts on trying to get them to change. How do you personally deal with letting go, even though you may be very attached to them? For example, a parent.
Yeah, that's something I'm struggling with. Well, not letting go, like trying to let go, but she won't let me. It is really hard, and I guess a lot of you probably are feeling this with family. I'm the psychedelic sheep of the family. No one gets it, and they're not going to wake up. My mum is isolated. She's isolated for like 3 months and watching the news all the time. She's a Catholic. It is sad. You just got to accept it. I don't know how an easy way is. I'm still struggling with that with my family, like I said, because, you know, we're blood. In the past, not so much the waking up, but in the past I did have a really hard time when I was really growing, and I was very, very sensitive. I could feel things and it would affect me for ages. And I had a couple of friends in really, really bad relationships. They were on all sorts of drugs and I couldn't, every time I went round there, I could just feel it all. It was just all like, ugh. And I just couldn't do it. And I loved her to death. And I had to just start going around there less and less and less. And it wasn't because I didn't love her less and less. It's because I loved myself, that I knew it, I couldn't do it. But now she's come away from him, and now we're friends. You know, not we weren't friends, but now we're spending a lot more time together. So again, it comes back in circles. Sometimes you've got to let go and let them come when they're ready. And it's the same with the family. I'm really having to learn with my family, especially with my mum, because I think it's the whole Catholic thing. I feel a little bit resentful because she drummed all this stuff into my head when I was younger. So that I've got this thing where I want to half sort of teach her stuff, but then she's like, "Oh, you're," and then we have a big argument and we don't talk for ages. So I've given up. I've completely given up, and I think everybody's on their journey, and it's about honouring and understanding that you can't push. Because we had our awakening when we were supposed to have our awakening, and nobody would have made me wake up anytime sooner. I had to go through what I needed to go through, and the sad truth is that some people aren't going to wake up. They're not. That's the sad truth. But when we die, we need to leave it all with us anyway, so we might as well practice now. Non-attachment. Yeah, it is sad, but it is what it is. But you know, we're all one in the big scheme of things. Energetically, we're all one, and they're always with you in your heart. I know it's easier said than done, but yeah, it's just switching that mindset into more of an energetic exchange rather than a physical one. I'm waffling now.
No, you're not. I was consciously listening, shall I say. Does anyone else have any more questions for Tai? Ava, I know that you came in a little bit late, but is there anything you'd like to add? Or anyone else? I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Ava.
No, I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm just listening.
Okay, good. Yeah, attachment is a hard one. Like for me personally, I struggle with attachments to people. It's like, especially when I find them to be like quite rare, and I'm like, oh, I'm sticking with you. Like, you're a rare one. I want to keep you. Yeah, it's something that I'm trying to deal with at the moment as well, is like attachment and letting go. And what I've realized actually is that I get to a certain point, I don't know if anyone else has this, that I can't hold on to it anymore. I cannot be bothered. It gets too heavy. But it's like only until I kind of reach that point a little bit. I feel like I have the same thing with stress as well. Like I can get really, really stressed, and I'll reach a point, I'm just all of a sudden just like can't be bothered and just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite with you on attachment. I can't let go ever.
No way.
Can't let go ever.
Like, no, I live in the past. It's really bad. That's why I'm like attempting the conscious awakening.
But that's only hurting yourself. There's another analogy that I was told. I think it was on Landmark. I did a thing, and they said the way they catch monkeys in some like jungles or whatever it is they get like a big jar with a little thing, and they put like a banana in it, and the monkey puts its hand in and grabs the banana, and then it tries pulling it out, because it's got the banana, it can't get it out of the hole. And then they come and they grab the monkey, and all it had to do was just let go of it. I can't remember why I just started saying that.
No, it was about attachment.
Yeah, it is, and we're holding on to it, and it's like holding on to hot coal as well. It's only hurting yourself. Yeah, when it's a negative thing.
But attachment and like detachment and letting go, wouldn't you say it stems from like the mental, doesn't it? Like or would you say it starts from your mental state?
Well, it could be the programming though, like, because like, say for example, like with relationships, I always wanted what I couldn't have. I always wanted emotionally unavailable guys, because my mum and my dad were both emotionally unavailable. So it's something that was normal to me. And that was another, I mean, I'm talking a lot about relationships. I guess that's because it's been a massive part of my journey. So there was an analogy that I learned within that as well, is that the script of our childhood, we grow up and we try and replicate the script, like with the same sort of screenplay. So we might be attracted to somebody like our mum or our dad, but what we're actually seeking subconsciously is a different result. So we like I was going for emotionally unavailable people who I wanted to be emotionally available to me, which completely defeats the object, because it's trying to get something from somebody who doesn't have it available. And that's when you have to bring your consciousness in it, and you have to choose it. And like with my partner, I was like, oh my God, we're best friends, we get on all right already, you know, like it was a conscious thing rather than a feely thing. Because normally when you're like, ugh, and it's all butterflies, it's because you've got faulty wiring. Like, that's lust, that's sort of like a physical thing rather than a logical conscious thing. Because we are love, and we can love anything and anyone. Because
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you can.
Do you deal with dreams?
I don't have many dreams. I do like a little bit of smoke before I go to bed. So I've not had many dreams, to be honest, for a few years. I wish I could though, but no, I don't. So I'm sorry, I can't help it.
Okay.
Wish I could, though.
I mean, I have the recurring theme
Okay.
that I'm away from home. I'm in some strange place. I want to get home. I know what direction is home, but I never get, like, everything I do to get home like sends me back further away. Like, I go to it. This train says, oh, it goes to my home. I get into there, and it actually leads me further away.
And that's in your dream, and you keep getting a reoccurring one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, I can help there. So first of all, what I understand is that dimethyltryptamine, DMT, is secreted from your brain when you're in a deep sleep. So my understanding is that when you're in a deep sleep, your consciousness is out there in the ether. And I tell you what, watching my baby sleep is absolutely amazing. So what my suggestion to you is that when you're having these reoccurring dreams, you are getting messages from the divine and your subconscious. Because when you say it feels like you want to go home, and that feels to me like what I feel like when I have, you know, my ceremonies and stuff like that. You feel this oneness, and you want to go home. And the fact that you're, you know, going off different directions and stuff like that, what would interest me is when you have the reoccurring dreams, whatever it tells you to do at the time. So say in your life at the time when you're getting on a train and it's taking you the wrong direction, what is going on in your life when you had that dream? Because maybe the universe, I don't know, I don't like calling it universe, spirit, whatever, is telling you that that isn't the right path. That's not what you should be doing. And that's why it might be trying to guide you subconsciously through your dreams, possibly. That's my suggestion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have to think about this, but yeah, thank you.
Maybe make a note of it though, because I would like dreams. I did get some dream tablets and stuff like that. I was interested in lucid dreaming and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
what I know is that you have to, if you keep a diary of your dreams. So every time you have a dream, write about it, but then write about what's been going on in your life then as well. I don't think that, you know, you get a dream book, and if, for example, if your teeth are falling out, it's supposed to mean X, Y, Z. I don't think it means the same for everybody. I really think that the only person that can really translate their dreams is yourself, because it's your subconscious and it's your picturing and how you would put it together. So yeah.
I see. I understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
And from Christus is this comment: I feel like my reawakening has to be hidden, quote unquote, from most of my family, and the perceived oddities of my practices, doing magic, channeling, etc., may create a further divide between us all.
Yeah.
I want to use my abilities to heal them, and I often find that I am perceived as a bit of another.
Yes.
Have you dealt with this too? Have you dealt with this too?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think so. Yeah, with my family and my awakening. So I'm trying to remember everything you said. So part of my journey that made it easier for me was to remove my family from my social media. That was what I did. I blocked the majority of them. And what I noticed was that then I was sharing more authentically. I was sharing stuff sort of more publicly about who I was. And yeah, and really coming to myself. And then I did kind of go a little bit, I didn't know how to handle it. So me personally, I then was sort of like a bit overtly like, yeah, I'm a hippie. Yeah. You know, I thought if I'm going to be crazy, I might as well be well crazy, you know. So then it was just all, I like entertaining, can you tell? So it was just, they used to just laugh, and I just thought I'd rather, you know, it be meaningful that I want them to laugh at me than them actually laughing at me. And I think now, because I have been this way for a bit longer than all the other things that I've ever been, because I've been many things. I think we all have. I think they're having to accept it now, and I have tried to get them all to come to my sound baths. My sister actually opened up to me the other day, and she actually came to another one. She opened up. We're doing a bit of healing at the moment, and she said it felt weird for her when I did Reiki on her because I'm her sister. So I can appreciate that, you know, from her point of view, why it would feel weird, because they're not on the same path. This is the thing. So yeah, I think distantly you can send love and light and stuff like that, but you can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. And for me, I've been accused of being a bit overpowering and pushy, and sometimes coming across like a bit of a drug pusher. So I've just stepped back, and I've got my tribe.
I hadn't had this impression. You're cool.
So I've stepped back, and just I allow my tribe to come to me. I just shine my light. This is me. I'm crazy, and if you like what you see, then come bathe, you know, let's be light together. But yeah, it took a while though. It wasn't easy, because we want our family to love us and accept us, and I still do have this sort of like mother wound with my mum. I'm on the edge of that. So yeah, I know what it's like, but that is where we really have to have love and compassion for ourselves, because when we've got this inner parenting, we love ourselves, then what our parents and family think about us, it shouldn't really matter, because we've already given it to ourselves.
Chloe, did you have more questions?
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit, like, I know you touched on the reparenting at the start and we've gone into quite a few questions. Can you tell us a bit more about the reparenting? I'm really keen.
Reparenting. So I did an exercise. This is where I learned it. I did a retreat, a Hoffman process, and it was a really powerful exercise. I might try and do a YouTube video or an article and try and teach what it was. So what we were taught to do is to tap into our inner child. So imagine you're like a 5-year-old child, and you've got this inner child, and your inner child is rebellious, it's emotional, it's and then you've got your intellect. So your intellect is like, right, you must get potatoes for dinner later, oh, don't forget to ring XYZ. You've got this little sort of nattering, and sometimes it can drive you a little bit mad. So what we did is we needed to get these two parts of ourselves to be friends, and it was really powerful the way they did it. So what we did is we had a stool, and we sat on the floor, looking up at the chair, and we had to pretend to be our inner child, and we were like, oh, I hate it when XYZ, blah blah blah. I don't know, like. I don't know. And then we'd have to sit up there and go, look, I understand how you are feeling. I'm sitting on the chair now, and I'm pretending to look at myself sat down there. And I was like, it's okay. When you have an emotional outburst, I promise I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to help you bring it through. And we would just talk to ourselves like we was this responsible adult. And then we'd have to get back down on, I think they might have had a little tink, like a little bibber or something, like a bell, like bing, and we'd have to swap and go, but I don't want you to. And we did this for like a good 10 minutes, like flitting between two. It was like acting. It was like a play type thing.
Let's just say that's horrible.
it
Wow.
really, it was horrible to do it, but it was powerful, because then at the end of it, I was literally telling myself, and myself was telling my other self, that I'm happy for myself to look after me. And then these two voices became friends. And they're not always friends, I have to have a little chat with myself every now and then. I think, it's just owning the voice in your head, and being
So you kind of have to be the intermediator
exactly
between the voices in your
yes.
Yeah.
And I tell you what's really another thing that's been popping up lately, my eldest has been watching a lot of, and it's really powerful, is the difference between the left and the right brain. I can't remember if it's the left or the right, but one is in charge of all linear and the other is completely
analytical stuff.
Beautiful. But this woman had a stroke in the linear side, and what she described was like an awakening, like an out-of-body experience. So by her linear part being taken away, she was connected with this godliness. I can't remember why I said that.
I think that's
so it's getting them to be friends, because it's like you've got two different personalities.
I do find parallels in this in music and acoustics. I'm a musician and sound engineer, so I can kind of
We've got a chicken on the
Oh, what is the chicken?
Khan, what is your chicken saying?
Wow.
Chloe, did you have any more questions?
For me, not for the moment. Again,
I was just going to ask more about your sound, like the sound journeys, and I'm guessing you take, because I know there's I'm excited. I'm going to come do one.
Listen, I'm not a salesperson. I hate selling, but I sell them because they're amazing. You're in anti-gravity hammocks, so you're hanging in a womb. You're levitating in space. and we basically, yeah, we do like a sound journey, and it is a journey. It's like a shamanic journey. We do sort of drumming, and then we go into like the gong. We've got the didgeridoo. We've got crystal singing bowls.
It is a journey because you start at one tune, and then you start at that, and then you go discover other tunes like the octave, which is the double of the frequency, and then you go 3 times the frequency is a fifth over the octave. Like, so 3 divided by 2 is a perfect fifth.
You're going really into the
like the building blocks.
I think it's just a perfect healing modality because it is just effortless. You haven't got to think about any of it. You just literally just bathe in the sounds, and they do everything. They entice and they pull out of you any thoughts and emotions that need to come out. And yeah, you'll have an out of body experience, or you'll have some tears. You'll just, yeah, it's amazing. You'll love it.
Actually, Chloe is coming to the next one.
Oh,
I am. Yeah. Thank you.
Saturday, yeah.
Oh,
I know, Halloween.
Oh, you're coming. Oh yeah, you want.
Yeah, I'll be dressed for the occasion too.
Oh yay! Exciting.
Will it be on Zoom?
Oh no, this is in person. Sorry.
Unfortunate. Okay.
But I think you do them in Zoom, Ty, don't you? Do you?
We did one, but a lot of people dropped out. I don't think they could hear it very well. I don't think the quality was very well. So we needed to try a different strategy, and they've got new equipment there. So we're going to give that a go. But I think next to that, maybe if we just record it and then upload it, I think it will be an easier thing to do.
Yeah, you dropped in volume, Spiritual. I don't know why. It's because I think it's because of some algorithm of Zoom that because other people have their mics way up, so it presses you down.
Can you hear me now?
I hate those automatic algorithms. I mean,
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Cool.
Can I ask a
it's
question?
better. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Christopher.
I did find it was interesting that earlier she talked about the lady that had the stroke and it activated one side of her brain over the other one.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could just like stay on mute while one person talks. Sorry, Khan. We'll come back to you, Khan. Yeah. Sorry, Christopher. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. But I knew a lady personally that had that happen. She had an aneurysm, and people just wrote her off as crazy because she could see. You know, I think it activated a certain part. I guess it activates the third eye when something like a stroke or an aneurysm happens to the brain, because it's consistently like the effects seem to be consistent in the people that have them. Or am I the only one that thinks that?
It was TED Talk, and it was amazing the way she was describing it. I'll get it up again, and I'll send you the link, and you can send it to me.
Yeah,
because she was fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the church, but like people would write her off, you know, it's just crazy or whatever. But I was like, no one could describe something so much in detail and then not be sitting in front of them. But knowing what I know now, I know exactly what was going on and what she was in tune with. We didn't understand her, and not the other way around, you know. But I just wanted to ask and see what y'all thought about that. Thanks, though.
Thank you. So what about what? That you thought she was crazy?
Oh, well, they literally put her in like a mental institution.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because she was, you know, a quote unquote normal functioning person before her aneurysm. When she came out of it, she kind of needed assistance, but she was pretty coherent. She just saw things and would have, you know, types of mood swings, but nothing violent, just kind of, I would say more sad than anything. But yeah, it's kind of hard to describe. And of course, when they give her medication, she acts more quote unquote normal, but she loses, you know, the other side of her. So it's not much I know about, but I just noticed that with her and with people that have things that happen, you know, to the brain or whatever. I would say, like, even when I played football, after I had a for sure concussion, I never was the same mentally again also. And I feel like it was like 06, 07, and that's when my journey kind of started. It really took off in 2010, but I noticed 6 and 7 is when I started questioning things more for sure. So I think like blows to the head literally do wake people up legitimately. It's kind of funny now I think about it.
Yeah,
But yeah.
literally wake you up. Definitely. A lot of people have their awakening from near-death experiences and stuff like that. I nearly died when I was a baby, 6 weeks old.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's probably why I've been a little bit more alert.
Yeah.
And never fitted in, and couldn't understand why other people didn't think the way I thought.
Right.
And now we're getting more people, and then I'm like, hang on a minute, everyone wants to think like me. This is great, But all that time growing up like a crazy person, but I'm quite happy being crazy now. I don't mind. Crazy's good.
Right. Yeah, and they talk about in their death how, that's all breathing techniques are. You breathe so heavily that you almost experience death, and which is always just a rebirth because you die out of something old. So yeah, my mom almost lost me, I think, around that same amount of time.
Wow.
And then it was just crazy when I was 5. I vividly remember my first being out of my body. Oh, sleep paralysis. Not being able to move, but yeah, but I knew what it was now, but I just had a lot of little things early, and then later that added up. And like
I've
you said,
had
of course,
loads of sleep paralysis as well.
Yeah.
Did you see the shadow people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
And that's what got me interested in like lucid dreaming, but I'm a bit like you, like I smoke as well, so I don't really dream.
Oh, were you talking to me?
No, me probably.
Oh no, that's funny because I smoke too, and that's my problem.
Yeah.
I tell you what though, the way to solve that problem, I swear to you, if you get a bowl of water and put it whatever side you sleep on, put it under your bed, you will dream high. I promise you, it's been working.
Really? I'm gonna try this tonight.
Yeah.
Because I miss my dreams, man. But I don't really stop smoking because I like it.
Right.
Same.
So then, if you smoke,
Looks like he's enjoying one.
Oh, water's in glass. This is a cordial.
I'm gonna give you this one for free. I swear to you, because I only give you what I've tried and know it works. So if you get some of the monatomic gold that they sell or whatever, the powder, whatever. I could find a brand I had from Amazon, but I mixed it with some weed, and I kid you not, that was the closest I came to an OBE experience. Because like when I smoke, the first thing I try to do is astral travel. So I mixed the gold with the weed. I laid down. I tried the, expanding your life to your body, then to your room, then to your city, whatever. I tried different techniques, but once I just totally relaxed, I could feel my spirit trying to elevate, but something was holding it back. I'm not sure. I started sweating, I started tingling, all that. So I felt all sensations. I knew what was going on, but for some reason, I still couldn't project. But yeah, water under your bed and mixing some gold with it. Promise you, your dreams or whatever you're trying to achieve, it'll happen. Because I guess that gold opens up. Yeah, we do regenerate certain nerves that you don't use. Same thing with lion's mane. I haven't tried lion's mane yet, but I can tell you for a fact the gold not only will enhance your dreams as well as your meditation, but like if you have physical pain, like I had knee pains from squatting wrong. When I was squatting wrong and taking the gold, the pain would go away. Once I would stop taking it, it would return. No, I just knew I was squatting wrong, but I can tell you the gold actually works. So, yeah.
What's the gold? What's the second part of it called?
Monatomic. Any monatomic gold. So MONATOMIC.
Perfect.
What chat are y'all in? Are y'all in the Ascending Tribe chat? I can post it in there.
Yeah, just post it in the Discord, and whoever's not in the Discord, I'll just
okay.
Get over.
And yeah, because I think I was telling, I don't know, it might have been another server. I think I mentioned it because somebody else was talking about Lion's Mane the other day. Was that not ours? Could have been Mystic EB.
It might have been because there are so many channels in that server.
But yeah, they were giving away good info on like some teas. Like I tried the mugworts.
their frequencies are multiples of us, so we resonate and gets information across. I mean, this is my way of it.
I just want to bring it back quickly back to Tai, because I actually have really one question that relates to the topic of this discussion. So just with the terms of, you know, when you were talking about the first 7 years of every child's life is so vital and important, Tai. Me personally, I felt like really, really close and really open spiritually and really connected towards those ages. Do you think there's a way that we could like parent children going forward in a conscious way where they don't lose that connection like after those ages and kind of fall into, because for me, I feel like I fell into a deep sleep, and kind of that was like when my indoctrination kind of started, obviously through schooling and obviously like you say through parenting. But do you think like going forward, like there's a way?
You can. You just have to reform school. Like school, it doesn't make sense that we get born and then, these first several years now you learn everything, and then now you're done. You learned everything for your life. No, that's not the case. You learn every day. Like school has to be expanded over your whole lifetime. That's my opinion.
Thanks. Tai?
Sorry, I forgot what the question was. Yeah, homeschooling anyway. I wouldn't go to school. And what was it you said again? You asked.
Oh, if there's a way, you know, like because children seem to be really close.
First thing I would say is to work on yourself. For me, I needed to work on myself before I could be a conscious parent to my son, and that was a really hard thing for me to do, is because he was the most important thing to me and I wanted to care for him. But there was a point where I was like, I need to go on this retreat. And I not retreat, like I was doing work on myself. Do you know what I mean? I was going like on and doing like seminars and stuff like that, because I needed to fix myself, because if I didn't fix myself, my son was going to be as fucked as I was. And I had to take responsibility for being the best example that I could be, and that meant that I needed to do the work on myself. So the best way to raise conscious children is to make an effort to be conscious yourself. But I did want to say about the gold that isn't it interesting how powerful gold is, because didn't the Anunnaki and that come down for all the gold, and they mined for all the gold and that. So it is, and then you've got all the gold in the Vatican and the Queen's jewels and that. It just does make you wonder, doesn't it? Yes,
100%. I just wanted to check with Tai that you're right for time, because I realized that these talks are usually like an hour to an hour and a half, but I'm just bearing in mind in your time.
I'm all right for probably about another 20 minutes. So
yeah, like if anyone wanted to jump in or ask Tai any more questions regarding Christopher, I know you want to ask something. Go on.
No, because I actually did come for that, because it's funny, like I have been having a lot of conversations with people about this topic, so I missed the start time. But yeah, the question she asked is kind of similar to what I was wanting to know also, because I had, it's funny, I guess my teacher, if you want to call it that, was through YouTube, but I liked him because he was just straight to the point. And one of the things he kept reiterating was, you don't need to save the children, you need to save the adults. The adults are the ones that's fucking up the kids. We can't save them until we get our shit together. We're the ones that fuck them, but we're the one that's hurrying them out of discovering. Like you see, you know, people with kids and they're just rushing them, hurry up, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. And you're taking them out of their natural essence of expressing and discovering and what we're supposed to do while we're on earth, which is explore. You know what I'm saying? Not go work in the office, but because similar to what, I don't know who was talking earlier, but like they said, you know, you need to change the whole idea of what education is. And education is just life, which is just experiencing. And then your job is to share your experiences with other people to help them along their road. But like they said, we don't need to worry so much about saving the kids as much as we need to be about saving ourselves first and understanding ourselves. But yeah, it was funny that you asked that question, because I've been wondering and kind of getting to that same revelation myself. But yeah
definitely. I think you can go in schools, you can teach them meditation, you can reach them to a certain extent, but if they've got bad soil at home, then they're growing in you know, unhospitable environment. But some children who are in really bad, they can be saved. They can have that one teacher at school that's rooting for them, but there would still be a healthy adult. That is, yeah. Children are so dependent on adults, and I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead. I love that song, and it's been my favourite song for it. It is. They really are the future. But yeah, we don't need to be fucked up adults raising children. We need to fix ourselves up, man. I mean, for me though, I was a fucked up adult, and I still raised a very well adapted son. But he was part of my soul's journey. I unconsciously raised a conscious child, thankfully, on my path to awakening. But yeah, it's all divine as well in that degree. So don't not have kids, any of you, just because you think you're fucked up, because it was be divine as it is. And often have them, that is your wake up call. Like, oh my God, this little person is looking at me. I have to behave myself. So yeah.
It was just funny because like when you are a kid, you know everything. It's only that you become an adult that you forget everything and are taught new things and you forget the way you used to feel about them. My friend said something crazy. We were talking and he was like, when we were little, we knew who was gay, but it didn't matter. You was just like, they were different. You didn't start associating certain things with gay until you got programmed by society about what gay is and the sexual things that come along with being gay. When you were a kid, none of that mattered. You just knew things were different. They weren't better, they weren't worse. It was just the experience. So like, that's why I say we should really learn from kids and let them kind of remind us of what we used to be and how we used to think. And imagine the things you wondered as a kid that you now know was true. Imagine, and so who's really the smart ones here? And when you go back to your childlike innocence and start to question everything the way you used to, and then you start to find these answers when you're an adult, you start to remember more things that you thought about as a child you were correct about. So you should follow your childlike intuition and get back into that mindset.
Well, they said
that, I think,
yeah, and then you have
without the time, right, Alex? Or is it okay? Like,
oh, Ty, how long do you have left? Like what, another 10, 15 minutes, did you say?
Yeah, 15. Yeah, but at 9
all right,
o'clock, I'll have to come off.
I was done.
Was that it?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Chloe, I have a question, sorry.
Yeah, no, I like how obviously you think in your ideas of raising children and obviously being conscious, because I'm quite similar, but it's scary how many people out there, like even my own mum, like she fully like believes everything she's told, like by the government, and like follows rules to the T. And like I'm like, not everything is right. Like I'm like, she's good, and obviously she's raised me and I question things, but not most people wouldn't question their parents. So yeah, like it's hard. How do we make more people think like us?
The funny thing is the roughest thing I've had to do is talk to her like she's a child now, because that's, and not even the childish type. Like I have to be like, look, you argue with me the way you used to argue with my father 30 years ago. So if you're still the person you were when 30, what's the growth? You still lack a lot of self-awareness. I can look in the mirror and be like, okay, I've gotten better here and here, and I still need work there and there. Let me hear you say that out loud. You can't do it. So you got this. And it's funny with Black parents, like once they become an adult, they think that's it. You're supposed to live in it, listen to everything they say. But it's just like, when it's literally like standing up to a bully. The first time you show them that I'm a speck I like, you're a speck I like. If I wasn't coming through your yoni, I was coming through any other 3 women in here. You don't own me. I don't own anything here. We don't possess anything here. We're here helping each other. Then they, they start to kind of, they look at you crazy, but they know there's some truth in it. Because it's not coming from hate. It's just coming from something that makes sense. Like, oh yeah, like, are they better than their parents? You know what I'm saying? They couldn't wait to become an adult to talk to them like that. So what did they expect out of us? But it's like I said, it's not even about talking back or being disrespectful. It's just simply letting them understand that this is a partnership. It's not a dictatorship. You can't control everything about me. I would follow the same rules of my kid if I had any. Like, you don't have to call me your parent, like, because I'm not here to do that. I'm just here to guide you. Once you decide whatever you want to do, that's what you want to do. you know,
That's
type thing. Like,
I say with my son, I gave him the gift of life. I don't own you. You know, you are your own thing, and that was what I gave you. And I tell you what, you say the way you say it to your mum, which is what I struggle with. I'm not going to lie, but I'm working on it. Is when you get your 20-year-old son pulling you up, and you have to humble yourself, and you have to be like, I'm so sorry. That's an interesting switch.
oh well, yeah,
They're
like
pulling you up, and he's being all conscious, and I have to sit there, and to begin with, I'm like, you know, thinking, who the do you think you're talking to? You know, like, and then I'm like, hang on a minute, that's my mum, and I'm like, okay, you are me, we are one, you know, and I've raised you. So if I've raised you and you're pulling me up on this, then that's as good as me pulling myself up on that. So what have you got to say? You know,
well, no, and
but
that's
it
the
was
funny
hard.
part. We're born 3 days apart. She's March 15th, I'm March 18th. I literally fuck with her and be like, your name is Mary. You gave birth and named me Christopher. If you didn't think I was gonna act like Christ when I got here, you're
Your
sadly
birthday's
mistaken.
March.
Huh?
Your birthday's the March what?
18th.
And is someone the 15th?
My mom's.
That's my son's birthday.
Oh,
March
whoa.
15th. That's the day I gave birth.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Wait, so I'm 32.
Pisces.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. But, and that's part of the struggle because we're so similar. And she can't handle me being her to her, like back to her. And it's just the dynamic of the parent and the child, or at least the way they teach it, because that's just part of programming. Also, if you teach that you should always listen to your parents and never question them, that's just we can keep you programmed.
Mm-hmm.
We can keep you regurgitating the same bullshit throughout every family line.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, some of us are sent here to destroy and break thought patterns and curses and blase blase. But yeah, she don't. And the worst part is she's a pastor, so the day I was able to teach her Bible better than she knew it, you could see the ego leave. I saw, and it wasn't anything like pleasing, but I saw it happen, and I was like, oh, she don't know what to do with me now because I proved that I know her book better than she knows it. I haven't been to church in 10 years because I went and learned the astrology and the mysticism of it. I can comprehend it and explain it back to you better than you can. And I left church. So, you know, it's just, I mean, but I had to, like they said, you have to question what you're reading. And not read it to be right, but read it to get it right. Yeah. My bad.
So I've been recognizing this with my mum actually lately. I think that other than the fact that my little sister's got most of the attention growing up because she was the baby, there was a switch when I decided I didn't want to get my son have his first Holy Communion. My mum's Catholic, and when I decided, I was like, no, I said I don't believe in it, and it would be hypocritical for me to allow him to do it. And it was since then that I've really felt this divide. I did it all: first Holy Communion, confirmation, and it's funny again. There's a lot of similarities with you. Is that it is me debunking the Bible. It's been my drive. It's my driving force, you know, which has made me get into all this spirituality, and because it just didn't feel right to me. There was, you know, for me, my mum, you know, preached about, you know, you shouldn't sin, you shouldn't do this, and you shouldn't. But then she was moaning about everybody, and I was like, and as a child, I was like, but you're all love and God and this, that, and the other, but you're not happy, and you're not a nice person. I love her, I just don't like her, you know. And so that for me was a massive part of my journey, and I wish I knew the book, and I should read it so that I can learn a few bits about it, so I can throw it back at her.
It's the thing is, I don't even like tell her it's wrong. I just be like, you don't even understand it. I was like, okay, for instance, I'll just go super extreme to something everybody should know about the Bible. There's a verse that says it's the same verse that you're in spirituality. So as a man thinketh, so is he. Law of attraction. Thou hast not given me the spirit of fear, love, power, and of a sound mind. So when this virus came, I was like, I don't think I should hear very many Christians or spiritualists being afraid of everything. If you understand the mind is all in the universe is mental. So as a man thinketh, so is he. So I would just repeat her things back like that. I was like, I know you're not afraid because your God said he has you, and it like, where's your what? I don't even understand how you have any fear, because I don't have any fear. But I realize not everybody has that. But as a pastor, you shouldn't be pastoring people and have fear. That's just my opinion. So I would just do things like that to her and be like, now you meditate on that, and we'll talk later. Like, and I leave it at that. I'm just repeating your own Bible back to you. Yeah. So I don't have to tear it down. I just like simply tell her and prove to her you don't understand it, or you don't live the life that you claim you live, and that'll do it. And then it's up to her.
It's put fear in, isn't it? It's kind of been the whole point of it all. In my opinion, it's very fear based, very control, indoctrination.
Just with 10 minutes left, sorry, Ty, because I know there's a few people that kind of want to jump in and ask a couple of questions. Christopher, no, I know you are more than welcome to talk. Sorry, I just want to double check that Khan didn't want to say anything, because I know, Khan, you were trying to comment or add or question. Please go ahead. Oh, you're on mute. Hang on. Can you come off mute? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I got about 3 things. First one, like, it took me like literally 45 minutes to get to this freaking Doom thing. Okay, the software on my iPad, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just happened to get a new phone, right? Because the other one got fucked up. So it took me 45 minutes to get on here, man. And like because I had to this shit was supposed to get easier, right? I mean, how I've realized it keeps getting more complicated. Like, you have to go through, because you send the link through WhatsApp, right? It goes to the other phone. So you got to go in there, copy the link, and open the other app, because it's the tablet doesn't have WhatsApp, right? So you got to go in the email app, type it in, fucking paste it, send it to the other one, and open this up on the iPad. And I mean, I was going crazy. And the second I jumped on here, okay, I mean, Ty, right? Ty, she was saying, she was like, you know how he was like, she was talking about someone. She said, you know how he was like damaged in the left brain. So, I don't remember which one it was, the analytical one, or would I'm like, shit, she was talking about me, like the second I jump on here, I'm like, it's crazy how this works, this synchronization. The second I jump on here, she's talking about me. So I freaked out, right? So she stops talking. I reached over to the table. I had like a little bit of weed left. Then Christopher starts talking about, he was like, he was smoking weed. I'm like, holy shit, what's happening here, right?
You must have freaked out.
I did freak out, dude. This is being recorded, right?
Yeah.
You'll see it later on the thing, right? I freaked out, man. Then it's crazy how Ty and Chris are related in the other field, in the spiritual realm. And I mean, because like Ty gave birth on 15th of March, which is Christopher's date of birth? Christopher's mom's. Can't you guys see the relation here? I don't think, if it was me in the conversation instead of Christopher or Ty, I'd react a little differently, like they just kind of, okay, whatever, it's big, like they're related and they end up here on this Doom thing. And this is just coincidence. Can you guys see what I'm saying here?
Nothing is coincidence, though, is it?
Right?
No, absolutely. Like you said, it's a synchronicity. But I've been having them so much, I'm just like, okay, cool. Yeah, I expect that. And yeah, I'm gonna ask questions. Trust me.
Yeah, I've had loads with Alex as well recently.
Me and Chloe have been having so many synchronicities lately.
Yeah, we've been proper synchronized.
Yeah, and like you said,
as well, like you want something, and then it like it's there as well. It's because we're going into 5D, man.
There we are, the realization. I want to be mindful of the time, because I know that Ty has a little bubby, and I'm sure I'm sure it's like very, very tiring as well, having a little bubby. So I want to double check that, Ty. Is there anything else you would like to say before we close, or would you like to say anything to close?
Other than if anyone is interested in doing that work that I said, where you can actually literally see yourself and your parents, and it just, for me, it sort of set off a little light bulb, and then I wanted to connect the dots with everything. I was like, oh my god, is that my mum, is that this? It just creates this new sort of dimension to life. If anyone's interested in that, then I can send that over to Alex, and she can send it off to you guys. And I like,
Yes, please.
I've done a video. Then I might talk a little bit about this sister circle, but it's all there. And I do it with you, so I'm like, was it this? And you know, so you get to see my smiley face while you do it. So you're not on your own, but you just need to get the paperwork. That's all. So you've got something to tick off. So yeah, that's the only thing I'd like to add. And you know, I went away on a course that I spent a fortune on it, and I'm just giving it for free because that's the sort of person I am. But I've had a lovely time though. I really enjoyed it, actually.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much.
Nervous, but it wasn't as no, it was lovely. You know, it was like friends having a little chat. So I just want to say thank you for having me.
You'll have to come back, Ty, and do another one.
I will. I said this after we did the last one. I was like, I actually quite enjoyed that. I'll do that again.
Actually, do you know what? I want to get you on about sound frequency and actually how that actually has an effect on our body. And I know that you know a lot about DMT as well, so that'd be like a really good discussion to come back on for as well.
Oh, man.
Well, thank you for leading and hosting this one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys,
Go now then.
speak soon.